This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the inventor lady, Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world as Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the inventor lady, Rita Crompton.
Yahoo! Welcome, America. That's right. This is Home Talk USA. You are now listening to the Invent America segment of our show where we talk to different entrepreneurs, inventors, manufacturers, distributors, lawyers. Anything that has to do with taking a simple idea. That's right, waking up at 3:30 in the morning with an idea, and you're trying to grab a pen, a paper, whatever. Oh, the next great invention. We just don't want your ideas to die. So we're going to walk you through a blueprint, and that's the point of this show. So you get to hear from the experts, and now I'd like to invite to the show my sidekick of the Invent America part of Home Talk USA, the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton. Hey, Rita, how you doing? It's getting close for that trade show, Rita.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so just a little bit of an announcement. All right, ASD Market Week folks will be on with us on the radio for that first Saturday in February. The second Saturday in February for when we air on that, I think like the 12th or something like that. But, so excited to have them on. They're excited to be on. So we are going to talk big about ASD Market Week.
And that's a new trade show that we're going to, right?
It is. And the cool thing is that we've got 800 square feet, so we are a huge booth. We are going to be recording from the booth, which is so much fun. They're excited about it. But it is for all consumer categories in America. So everything. And before we've gone to kind of isolated shows, but there's just this is a huge category for us and a big jump, and we are so excited. We've got a lot of new products that are going, inventors that want to be there to show off it. And the cool thing is that, for this part of it, it's inventors kind of in those early stages. So they don't really want to go alone, but they want to go and get some market research. Dollar for dollar, you get more market research at a professional trade show than you do by hiring anybody else to do market research.
Well, Rita, I'll tell you what. Well, great. Thank you for keeping us updated. But today's topic is, we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, prototyping, different phases of prototyping as we walk through the blueprint, right?
Today we're talking about the intellectual property and how a good patent is not industry-specific.
Okay, I apologize. I don't know why I got this.
Okay.
Oh, well, I got this. Man, that's why I got you on my back. Okay. I know we've been talking about prototyping.
We have been. Absolutely, and it's a big part. But, one of the things that we've learned, and some of it we understand better when we do a good prototype, is like, whoa, this could be done in other industries. This technology can be used other places. And the big crossover, believe it or not, is surgical tools and car repair tools.
Wow.
And when I tell an inventor, it's like you need to have a search done that that goes across industries, because a good patent is not industry specific.
That's
and
right.
It just blows their mind sometimes when they do it. We've got, one lady, she and her partner developed a lead-free weight. And so we're talking about it, and, I take a look at, what was done for their intellectual property, and I go, there's a problem here. This technology could be used in a Forest Service, in agriculture, in construction, any place where you need something to hold something down, but you want it to dissolve back into the earth. And
You're right.
Whoa.
You're right. That's
we
right.
missed that. Yeah.
That's right. You want to look for crossover opportunities. That's what I'm saying. Take a crossover. And that's the point. How many times do you hear that at the shows where, an inventor says, well, I started to, the reason why I invented this was for this, but look what it's doing now. And it happens all the time, It
does. Yeah. And our guests today are perfect examples of how, it's like, oh, well, I started with this in mind, but now I'm clear over here. And one of the guys that just really sparked the topic for me, he was so cool to talk to. He invented the refueling airplanes in air.
Whoa.
Decades ago.
Lord,
and someone told him, you need to make sure that you do not have this industry specific. And now his technology is actually used in outer space.
See? That's why we do the show, Rita. So let's talk about the subject matter and our guests that you got planned.
Okay, so we've got Russell Kramer is going to be on. He's got a product, and it can be used in a couple of different industries, and he's going to talk about that. David Klapatch is going to be on. He started out in the bike industry. Now he's in the trucking industry. And his product does, both of these guys, their product does the same thing, but they needed to make sure their intellectual property was not industry specific, and I'm not sure why attorneys make that mistake, but sometimes they do. And then our last guest is a registered patent attorney, and he did Russell's patents for him. And he knows, when he looked at it, and, he has done several patents for guests who've been on the show, and he's really good at seeing those outer space things where it's like, all right, you're talking about this, but, we could be using it clear over here.
Well, the biggest questions I get, like advice when somebody tells us, well, how long do you think it's going to take to get my product from A to Z, from the idea to actually on the shelf? And I said, specifically, we don't know, because it depends on what we've been talking about, the prototyping in, because you got to get that, and I hate to rehash what we talked about last week, prototype, but it's so important because at the end of the day, you got to get that right. But you have to be protected. You got to protect yourself at all costs. And that's why intellectual properties, patent attorneys come in to protect your copyrights, and not only the copyrights, which is literature, but the patent rights. You all have to secure to protect yourself,
Exactly. And I always, when they ask me that, I always say, well, it depends. And I said, I don't mean to give the standard lawyer answer, but it really does depend on, the inventor's skill set, what they can do themselves then as far as moving it forward, is, and their prototyping, what is their outreach in their marketplace, how fast can we get to a trade show? A lot of times inventors will say, I'm going to go to this trade show, and that gets them on track. It keeps them moving forward. And so, when somebody's got, a set time, if they're working a day job and they've got kids running around, it takes longer because life gets in the way for everybody. Yeah. And if they're focused, a lot of times our best inventors are retired because now they can focus, and their wives are saying, would you get in the garage and do this? You're making me nuts.
Well, Rita, there's our cue. We got to go pay some bills. You're listening to Home Talk USA. This is the Invent America segment of our show with the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton. We're going to be coming back with our guests, our topics. So if you have a great idea and you want to learn how to take your product to market from the time you're thinking about it to the time we can get it on the shelf, you want to stay tuned to this show because we have all sorts of education information for you. So stay tuned right here. Please visit our website at HomeTalkUSA.com. When you're there, you can check out anything you want to know about our show, our guests, our topics, the Invent America show, our television show at HomeTalkTV.com, future guests, topics again. What else? Oh, don't forget to click our partners page, all our great sponsors that help to support this show is sitting on that website. So, all right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be back, me and the Inventor lady, Rita Crompton, right here on the King's Broadcasting Radio Network at HomeTalkUSA.com. Yay! I'll come back now, you hear?
Welcome back to Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor lady, Rita Crompton.
This is the Invent America part of the Home Talk USA radio network. And, wow, so if you're just tuning in, we're talking to some inventors, some entrepreneurs. That's what we're doing here right now. Talking about the trade show we getting ready to come up to, going to soon. But, Rita, tell us a little bit about David Klapatch.
All right. David is one of our really exciting inventors. And the reason I say this is because he's got one of those game changers that we talk about frequently. And it was so simple. And David is actually manufacturing at this point. So, and his website is www.lubetoss.com. His product will be displayed on our Invent America website as well. So, David, thank you so much for being with us today.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
So, I gave you a little bit of an introduction and a pat on the back there, but I don't like to take away, all the hype about what your product is. So tell our listeners, what is Lube Toss?
Lube Toss, well, we actually have two product lines right now, or two divisions of Lube Toss. It started out as a very simple bike chain lubricator. I was in the need of a lubricator myself. I was tired of dripping oil all over the garage floor, and so I invented a simple bike chain lubricator that worked very well, and that developed into a line of different products. The chain lubricator is a very efficient, very low-cost device for lubricating roller chains, like on bicycle chains, gym equipment, conveyor belt chains, anywhere where dripping would be a problem. So the first device is you actually add lubricant to the device. It takes it's maybe about 2 tablespoons of lubricant in there. And so it's very confining, and it's wraps around the chain. It keeps all the oil or lubricant on the chain rather than on the floor. And then that turned into, once we started using it for that, we realized that it worked very well on cables. So we did have to modify it for cable use because the cables were larger, cables like on tow trucks, winches, even the winches on the front of Jeeps, you've probably seen the little tow winches on the front of the Jeep. When they get stuck in the mud, they can pull each other out, all those type of things. So we needed to adapt it to a spray can. So we developed a version of it that connected 2 spray cans that would spray the lubricant on a steady basis. So instead of just being limited to a couple of teaspoons of lubricant, now you have an unlimited supply to lubricate the whole chain. And the cable, same thing.
Just in your description, you've gone from, bikes to construction to trucking industry. I would imagine elevators, escalators, and anything else that ever needs to be lubricated. Now you have crossed just a dozen industries.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And if you look the way that the traditional way to lubricate all of the things that you mentioned, it's usually take out an oil can with a paintbrush and slap everything all over the place. So quite messy.
Yes. And as a wife who has had to clean that stuff up, I get how messy it is. I probably, I think the cleaner-upper gets how messy it is probably more than the doer when it's being done and the messy. So all of us out there who are the cleaner-uppers, we really appreciate, the fact that it's going to be less mess. And I would imagine that, a lot of the cleaner-uppers use the other product that we had on prior to is the Cleanos because, that stuff is really yucky. But when you were dealing with Don to do your patent, he did a really good job for you because this was something that we talked about. And when you went back and asked him, he goes, no, you're good. And so explain to us a little bit about how that conversation went with your patent attorney.
Well, we started out with a simple bike lubricator and then realized that it could be used for motorcycles and other metal cable industry and with modifications. So we kept going back and forth with the original idea, the original plans that we had, and we kept modifying that so that it was general enough to cover both of those uses, but specific enough so that we would hopefully get the patent for it and would be able to get it's both together on one patent, basically. Yeah.
Right. So right, and a good patent is not industry specific, but it's amazing how often somebody says, well, can you take a look at this? And I go, wait a minute, you look kind of like you're industry specific here. And it's like, well, this is where my product's going to be used, but it could be used a lot of different places.
In the end, we ended up with a description that did cover both of the lubricators that we designed, and it took a little going back and forth, and like I said, it was general enough. We didn't want to specify sizes because depending on the size of the chain or the cable, originally it was designed for a bike chain, but then as we got into bigger cables and chains, we realized that the size of the device would have to be larger. So when you're designing something like that in the patent, you don't want to mention a size. You have to try to think of what would somebody else try to. What would the workaround be if somebody else wanted to try and copy you? And so you have to try to think of those ideas ahead of time. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So what's next for you?
Next, right now I'm on LinkedIn. I'm just starting to do posts on LinkedIn. I'll be putting some videos on there. Same thing with YouTube Shorts, and hoping to do some licensing with the Inventor lady.
There you go. Well, we are looking forward to getting you out there and getting the product licensed for you and, seeing you get into the marketplace in a big way in all of those different industries. Because it's hard, and, life gets in the way for our inventors, and we want to always make sure that we're able to help you get back on track and get the product out there. So the attorney that you used is not going to be our next guest. It was a different one of the attorneys I work with. And, the registered patent attorney is so important.
All right. We got to run now. We're up against the clock. That's David Klapatch. Hey, Dave, how can we reach you? How can we reach David? Rita?
You could, the best way to reach me is at LubeToss.com. There's a message sheet right on there on the bottom. You could type me a message. I'll respond as soon as I can. And that's Lube Toss, LubenToss.com.
All right, that's David Klapatch. All right, Mr. David, thank you for being our guest on the Invent America show. All right.
Okay, thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, Rita, we got to go pay some bills, right, Rita? All right.
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, we stay tuned right here on the Genesis Communication Radio Network at GCNlive.com. This is Home Talk USA radio program, the Invent America segment of our show. We'll be right back. Yay!